The land echoes with whispers of empires long gone. From the Fertile Crescent's embrace, civilizations blossomed, empires rose and fell, leaving their mark on the sands of time. This is a land of prophets and patriarchs, a land where faiths were born.
This is the cradle of civilization, the birthplace of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Each faith woven into the fabric of this land, each claiming a piece of its sacred history.
The very ground is imbued with stories, tales of kings and conquerors, prophets and martyrs. They shape the beliefs of millions.
This is the story of two nations, Iran and Israel, locked in a struggle for dominance, for recognition, for survival. Their destinies intertwined, their narratives colliding.
Each nation carries the weight of its past. Ancient grievances fester, passed down through generations. Prophecies and pronouncements fuel the fires of animosity. The language of faith becomes a weapon.
In 1948, the State of Israel emerged from the ashes of the Holocaust. A homeland for the Jewish people, a beacon of hope after centuries of persecution. But its birth was met with resistance.
Decades later, in 1979, Iran was transformed by its own revolution. Ayatollah Khomeini's fiery rhetoric resonated across the Muslim world.
The year 1948, a pivotal moment in history. The State of Israel, a nation forged from the ashes of the Holocaust, declared its independence. For the Jewish people, it was a dream fulfilled, a return to their ancient homeland after centuries of exile.
But the birth of Israel came at a price. The Palestinian exodus, known as the Nakba, saw hundreds of thousands displaced. Their homes lost, their lives uprooted. This displacement, this dispossession, became a festering wound.
The Arab-Israeli War of 1948 solidified Israel's existence but deepened the divides. Neighboring Arab nations, opposed to Israel's creation, engaged in a conflict that would shape the region's destiny. Across the sands of time, another revolution brewed. In 1979, Iran, a land steeped in ancient history and Persian pride, underwent a seismic shift. The Shah, viewed by many as a Western puppet, was overthrown.
Khomeini's vision was clear: an Islamic republic, governed by Sharia law. The revolution reverberated throughout the region and beyond. It challenged the existing world order, alarming Western powers and inspiring Islamist movements.
The revolution's fervor was fueled by a potent mix of religious zeal and anti-Western sentiment. Israel, a close ally of the U.S., was branded the Little Satan. The birth of Israel and the Iranian Revolution, though separated by time and geography, became intertwined.
The Palestinian exodus resonated deeply in the Islamic world, fueling anti-Israel sentiment.
Khomeini, seizing on this anger, positioned himself as a champion of the Palestinian cause.
Israel, facing a newly emboldened Iran and a wave of Islamist fervor, viewed the revolution with apprehension.
The scars of the past, the echoes of revolution, and the specter of nuclear ambition would cast a long shadow over the future of the Middle East. The land remembers the tramp of conquering armies, the clash of swords, the rise and fall of empires.
From the Assyrians to the Babylonians, the Persians to the Romans, each left an indelible mark on the land's memory.
Centuries before the birth of Christ, the Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great rose to become the dominant power in the region.
Cyrus, known for his tolerance and wisdom, conquered Babylon and allowed the exiled Jews to return to Jerusalem, a pivotal moment in Jewish history.
The Persian Empire, with its vast reach and influence, left a profound legacy. The Hebrew Bible, a sacred text for Jews and Christians alike, is interwoven with stories of ancient empires, including the Persians.
Cyrus the Great, hailed as a Messiah-like figure, features prominently in the biblical narrative. His decree allowing the Jews to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple is seen as a testament to God's providence.
The biblical account of Cyrus's role in Jewish history resonates deeply within the Zionist narrative.
It reinforces the notion of a historical connection between the Jewish people and the land of Israel, a connection that transcends centuries of exile and persecution.
However, the use of ancient history, particularly religious texts, to justify modern political claims is fraught with complexity.
Today, the legacy of Cyrus the Great casts a long shadow over the Iran-Israel conflict.
While Israel sees him as a liberator, a figure who paved the way for their return to the Promised Land, Iran views him as a symbol of their own glorious past.
This shared history, however, is a source of both connection and contention.
It highlights the deep historical roots of the conflict, the intertwined narratives that bind and divide these two nations.
The ghost of Cyrus serves as a reminder of the complexities of the past and the challenges of reconciling historical narratives in the present.
In the heart of this conflict lies a battle for legitimacy, a struggle over narrative.
Both Iran and Israel turn to ancient texts, to divine pronouncements, to bolster their claims.
The Torah, the Bible, the Quran, these sacred texts become tools of statecraft, their verses echoing in the halls of power.
The concept of a chosen people, a land promised by God, is central to the Zionist ideology that underpins Israel's existence.
For many Israelis, their claim to the land is rooted in biblical prophecy, in the covenant between God and Abraham.
This belief fuels their resolve, their sense of righteousness in the face of existential threats.
Iran, too, draws upon its own rich religious tradition.
Nowhere is the intersection of faith and politics more volatile than in Jerusalem.
This ancient city, holy to three major religions, stands as a microcosm of the conflict, its narrow streets and sacred spaces contested ground.
For Jews, it is the eternal capital, the site of their ancient temple, the focus of their prayers for millennia.
For Muslims, Jerusalem is Al-Quds, the noble sanctuary, the third holiest city after Mecca and Medina.
It was here that the Prophet Muhammad, according to Islamic tradition, ascended to heaven.
The Dome of the Rock, with its golden dome gleaming over the city, marks this sacred spot.
Christians too revere Jerusalem as the place where Jesus walked, preached, and was crucified.
Is this conflict, at its core, a clash of civilizations? A battle between Islam and Judaism, fought across the fault lines of faith? Or is it, as some argue, primarily a geopolitical struggle?
The answer, like most things in the Middle East, is complex and multifaceted. Religion, undoubtedly, plays a powerful role. It shapes identities, fuels narratives, and provides a language for expressing grievances and aspirations.
But to reduce the conflict solely to religion is to ignore the intricate web of historical grievances, political ambitions, and strategic calculations that also fuel the flames. Each side in this conflict clings to its own narrative, its own version of history, its own claims of righteousness. These narratives, often diametrically opposed, serve to justify actions, demonize the other, and perpetuate a cycle of mistrust and violence.
For many Israelis, the conflict is an existential struggle for survival. Surrounded by hostile neighbors, haunted by the memory of the Holocaust, they see themselves as fighting for their very right to exist.
Palestinians, on the other hand, view the conflict through the lens of dispossession and occupation. Their narrative highlights their forced displacement, their struggle for self-determination, their daily lives under Israeli control.
The challenge lies in bridging these competing narratives, in finding a way to acknowledge the pain and grievances of both sides without resorting to violence or demonization.
It is in this space, where empathy meets understanding, that the hope for a just and lasting peace resides. Over this ancient land, a new shadow has fallen, a shadow born of science, fear, and the pursuit of ultimate power.
Israel, it is widely believed, possesses a nuclear arsenal, though it maintains a policy of deliberate ambiguity.
Iran, for its part, has long insisted that its nuclear program is entirely peaceful, aimed at energy production and scientific research. However, its clandestine efforts to enrich uranium, its development of ballistic missiles, and its fiery rhetoric against Israel have fueled deep suspicions and anxieties.
The nuclear standoff between Iran and Israel is a dangerous game of chess, played out in the shadows, fueled by fear and mistrust. Each side views the other's nuclear capabilities as an existential threat, a potential catalyst for unimaginable destruction.
Israel, haunted by the specter of another Holocaust, has vowed to never again be a powerless victim.
Iran, for its part, sees Israel's nuclear arsenal as a destabilizing force in the region, a tool of Western imperialism aimed at maintaining its hegemony. Its pursuit of nuclear capabilities, it argues, is a matter of national pride, a way to assert its independence and deter aggression.
The 2015 Iran nuclear deal, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, offered a glimmer of hope, a path towards easing tensions and preventing a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. The deal, negotiated by world powers, placed strict limits on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for the lifting of sanctions.
However, the deal was deeply unpopular in Israel, where it was seen as insufficient in curbing Iran's nuclear ambitions. The Trump administration's withdrawal from the JCPOA in 2018 further escalated tensions, leaving the deal in tatters and raising fears of a renewed nuclear crisis.
The pursuit of nuclear weapons, often justified in the name of security, has created a dangerous paradox, a false sense of security that could ultimately lead to unimaginable destruction.
The Iran-Israel conflict, a tapestry woven from threads of ancient history, religious fervor, and geopolitical ambition, casts a long shadow over the Middle East. The echoes of empires long gone, the pronouncements of prophets, the clash of ideologies, all converge in this volatile region, shaping the destinies of millions.
The birth of Israel, a nation forged from the ashes of the Holocaust, and the Iranian Revolution, a seismic shift that ushered in an Islamic republic, have irrevocably altered the region's landscape.
The path forward is fraught with peril. The cycle of violence fueled by mistrust, anger, and the weight of history seems endlessly repeating.
Yet amidst the ruins and the scars of conflict, there remains a glimmer of hope, a symbol of resilience and the enduring quest for peace.